Good evening, class. My name is Clinton Ellison III, and tonight we're going to be talking about brand variety, more specifically product variance and consolidation. So our text rather provides us a tremendous point of commonality. What I'd like to do this evening is follow the text and narrative, but also provide external examples and possibly discuss them after the conclusion of this presentation. So that said, let's jump into it. Now, the book describes line extensions and brand variety as important tools for accomplishing two basic goals of managing a brand portfolio. Those goals are clarity and leverage. Though our text doesn't go too far in describing what these two terms mean specifically, we'll use our own assumptions here. Clarity, for the sake of this presentation, we'll assume means brand definition. Okay, so how is our product or service different from the competition? What special attributes or details does this brand possess that makes us readily identifiable among the field? Leverage. Now I'm going to assume this to have something to do with brand equity in the minds of consumers. So, like, what is our strong point or point of differentiation? How does the how does a brand use its perceived value to sell its product or service? Now, let's define the line extension using the definition given in the book, which is a different version of the product within the same product class and under the same brand. That could be new features, flavors, materials, service packages, packaging, or sizes, and those are all used as examples in our book. So, according to our text, we can actually use line extensions to accomplish the goals of leverage and clarity. We'll explore the reasoning behind adding variety into an existing brand. Now, please bear in mind that some of these examples can be used interchangeably, so let's start with the reasoning. Energizing a brand. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with World Wrestling Entertainment, they recently did a brand split in which they assigned designated superstars and specified them to each of their different TV shows. So, we have a Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday time slot. You have your Raw, your SmackDown, and your NXT. All of these are perceived competing brands, but they're all part of the same umbrella company. And the idea behind that was to sort of stir competition and innovation amongst the creative executive figures um, in each outlet. Here we have an example of the existing Captain Crunch brand, the cereal, attempting to provide a little sense of variety by actually introducing an oops all berry scenario. I'm not sure how many of you are too familiar with breakfast cereals, but back in the day, this was one of my favorite Captain Crunch iterations. So here's a good example of providing variety here. We have another couple. We saw the example earlier on in the presentation with the Cheerios. Here we have some Pop Tarts. Like, there's 52 different varieties. It's ridiculous. Expanding a user base. A good example of this is McDonald's company expanding and getting into the breakfast and coffee business by launching its McCafe line in Paris. This is a great example of the existing brand of McDonald's leveraging their existing brand for the sake of expanding in new territories. Okay, another example of that would be the Star Wars universe and its recent marriage with the Disney Corporation, between them and Lucasfilms. Now we have Disney characters dressed up as Star Wars guys. Now this is instant integration and expansion of the user base for both perceived brands here. Brands are going to do some line extensions and take up wall space or shelf space or rack space, strictly for the sole purpose of blocking competitors and discouraging competition among similar product lines. Though we might not realize any sort of significant financial impact, the goal here is simply to discourage competition in an existing market or similar product line. Now, I'd like to bring it home by adding a little bit of commentary and narrative and incorporating what we're learning here into a little bit of the industry that I'm involved in, which is the PC market. Okay, so there are a number of things to consider when deciding to extend on a brand. Mostly it's the economics of it, okay? What are the economics of an individual line extension going to look like? Is it going to be beneficial for the customer, for the company, or whatever party is going to be involved in the decision-making process? Okay, is there a competitor threat that the line extensions address? How confused or frustrated are customers with the decision process? Is there a branding solution to the product line breadth problem? These are all things that brand managers should consider when deciding to extend a brand or do a line extension here. To share with you a little bit of personal experience here, the Microsoft Surface Pro tablet, they were eating up a lot of our business and a lot of our territory. They were doing a lot of damage to a lot of these manufacturers, Dell and Lenovo included. We were losing a lot of margin and a lot of market share to this product until we launched the HP Elite X 1012, which was dubbed then as the Surface Killer. You can see the similarity between the two products, but this was something that upper management had to address in order to remain competitive and sustainable in the tablet market. That said, I think we're going to wrap it up, and thank you so much for paying attention this evening, and take care.